Tesla came, then Apple expanded, then Samsung committed to tens of billions of dollars to semiconductor manufacturing nearby. Then Oracle moved its headquarters, and at some point you have to stop calling that coincidence, because when several of the largest technology companies in the world all start choosing the same city, something much deeper is happening. The real question is not just why one company moved here, it's why big tech keeps choosing Austin again and again. And if you're thinking about moving here for a tech job, understanding that answer explains a lot about where the city is going next. Now, the obvious explanation people usually give is taxes. Texas has no state income tax, and that absolutely matters. For someone earning $300,000 a year in a tech role, the difference compared to California can easily be tens of thousands of dollars every single year. And that is real money. But taxes alone do not explain why companies are placing massive long-term bets in Austin. Because companies can save money in a lot of different places. What really makes Austin, Texas attractive is the combination of several forces all happening at the same time. The first is talent. Austin already had a strong engineering base before the recent tech migration even started. The University of Texas produces a large number of engineers every single year. The city also has a long history with companies like Dell, IBM, and National Instruments. That means when newer tech companies began expanding here, they weren't starting from zero. There was already a deep technical workforce in place, and that matters a lot when you're trying to scale large operations. The second factor is geography. Austin sits in a surprisingly strategic position for several types of technology companies. If you look at companies like Tesla and Samsung, their operations depend really heavily on manufacturing, logistics, and supply chains. And Austin gives them something many tech cities cannot offer anymore: space. Space to build enormous facilities while still staying connected to a larger engineering talent pool. You can have engineers, manufacturing experts, software developers, and logistics teams all operating within the same ecosystem. And that combination is much harder to achieve in more crowded tech hubs. The third factor is cost structure. Austin is no longer the cheap city it used to be. The housing prices have increased dramatically over the past decade. But compared to places like San Francisco or Seattle, the overall cost environment is still more manageable for a lot of companies. Office space, land, infrastructure, and even employee cost of living tend to be lower than traditional coastal tech hubs. And that creates a really interesting dynamic for recruiting talent. Engineers moving from places like the Bay Area or Seattle often feel like Austin offers a much better lifestyle balance. More space, more access to nature, and housing that still stretches a lot further relative to income. And that lifestyle factor turns out to be extremely important when companies are trying to attract and retain talent. But there is another piece of the puzzle people often overlook, and that is ecosystem momentum. Often a few major companies choose a city and it becomes much easier for others to follow. Engineers start moving there, startups begin forming around the ecosystem, investors begin paying more attention, and suddenly the city develops a reputation as a place where interesting things are happening. And Austin is currently experiencing that exact flywheel. Tesla attracts automation and robotics talent. Apple certainly attracts hardware and software engineers. Samsung attracts semiconductor manufacturing specialists. And those different groups create an environment where new companies can spin around them. So when you talk to founders in Austin right now, you're going to hear them say the same thing. There is an unusual density of people working on really ambitious technical problems: artificial intelligence, robotics, semiconductors, hardware, software infrastructure. And when those type of people cluster in one place, innovation tends to really accelerate. And that is part of the reason Austin keeps attracting attention from both companies and from investors. Now, none of this means Austin's going to replace Silicon Valley. The Bay Area still has an extraordinary concentration of venture capital and technology companies. But what Austin represents is something slightly different. It's becoming one of the few places where multiple layers of the technology stack are developing at the same time. Software, hardware, manufacturing, artificial intelligence, robotics, operations. That combination makes the city extremely interesting for engineers and founders deciding where they're going to build their careers. And when you combine that with really rapid population growth and a strong cultural identity, you start to see why companies keep making the same decisions. They're not just moving to Austin. They're betting on long-term trajectory in the city. Now, if you're watching this because you're considering moving to Austin for a tech job, there is one thing to keep in mind. The growth of the tech ecosystem here is also reshaping the housing market. Different companies tend to cluster in different parts of the city. Tesla employees often live in different neighborhoods than Apple engineers, and startup founders tend to concentrate closer to downtown. And understanding these patterns can make a huge difference when you're deciding where to live. I'm Amber Haley. This is my channel where I break down Austin tech, housing, and how the city is evolving for people thinking about moving here. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. I post new ones every single week so that you can make smarter decisions about living here. And I can't wait to see you in Austin.